Hello all, welcome to Sand Compounding. In today's session, I'm going to explain how to identify the digital trends in payments and fintech. Fintech is revolutionizing the world and digital payments are revolutionizing the world. Especially in today's era of online commerce, digital payments has become a very sticky business and very important investment idea, especially because these investments in fintech and large digital payments players tend to give huge returns. We have seen that happen in China, we have seen that happen in India, in US, like the PayPal of the world, which have run around 10-15 years, giving stupendous returns to investors. So it's very important to identify such trends much early in other emerging markets. In today's session, I'm going to cover the Latin American markets, which is a cash-rich economy. It's more of a cash-oriented actions more than digital payments, and digital is slowly disrupting the LATAM markets. And there are two players. I'm going to explain how to analyze these two players purely from an analysis standpoint and how to identify a digital trend and fintech trend that's playing out there. Let's get into the details. So here is a topology of the LATAM markets, Latin American markets, where the digital explosion and fintechs are fast proliferating, and how the payments world is, the whole landscape is changing. So there are totally 18 LATAM countries, and with a total population of 638 million people. And total internet penetration is around 370 million, which is almost 40% of the population, and 35 million unique online buyers. The unbanked population is pretty high. Here we have around 120 million unbanked population. That's roughly 20-25% of the total population, and there is 35 million unique online buyers. Total e-commerce customers is almost 220 million, which is quite big, and it's growing very fast. And total online commerce growth, it's growing at almost 20% CAGR in just the LATAM markets, which means that the overall commerce growth itself is 20%, or overall online commerce growth itself is 20%, and so the companies and the leaders who are performing well will be even growing much faster clip. So here we can see the LATAM financial paradigm, where the high non-banked population in Latin American markets as compared to the developed nations. Here we can see on the left side graphs that shows that average penetration of banking in terms of adult population is almost like roughly 40% between these countries, and whereas as compared against the developed nations, it's close to 95%. And similar is the case with the low credit card usage. The share of credit card usage as a method of payment in LATAM markets is significantly low. That's around 20% compared to 60-70% in the developed world. So there is a huge immense potential. The total opportunity size is huge in terms of the fintech companies, the new age payment companies, and even the new new age banking companies that's coming in Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, etc. And you can see that it's shifting a paradigm itself of, instead of having physical banking, most of these new age fintech companies are bringing in mobile only banks, or physical banks are no longer required. Everything can be done through payments, online digital payments and digital banking, even digital transactions. So let's see a few of the leading players who are fast emerging as the giants in the financial paradigm in the LATAM markets, and a few of them are listed from investing standpoint, and these are just analysis that I'm doing to show how they are transcending the paradigm to the new age digital era of financial world. And few of them are a potential listing, could be possible through IPOs. Many are in the private segment. So let's first take the first company in focus, which is Mercado Libre, which is the leading e-commerce platform in LATAM market. It's based out of Argentina. It's led by and founded by Marcos Galperin, and has registered user volume of close to 250 million users, a staggering number, and a gross merchandise value of $13 billion per year. And this is growing at 35% year on year. And recently in 2019, I think March, PayPal invested close to $750 million in Mercado Libre. What PayPal saw was nothing but the huge potential of both commerce payments, and the Mercado Libre has an underlying payments channel or a payments bank, which we can call as Mercado Pago, which is a leading credit platform payment, and it has a lot of payment products like gateways, payment gateways, mobile point of sale, mobile wallets, etc. We will see in detail in the next slide. At this point, Mercado Libre I've just given a snapshot view of what Mercado Libre is, because the Mercado Pago is a subsidiary of Mercado Libre, and most of the transactions that happens in Mercado Libre is done through Mercado Pago, and so the huge potential exists for Mercado Pago just through this e-commerce platform. So gross billings forward looking is of around $2.4 billion. It's growing at 73% year on year. That's a staggering growth. And net revenue rate of around $2 billion in FY19, and that's growing around at 100% year on year, FX neutral. The gross merchandise value is around 13 billion in 2019. That's a big number compared to the total commerce volume in LATAM. And Mercado Credito complements the Mercado Libre marketplace, accelerating merchant sales and providing consumer finance to users. This is again a fast growing area, providing lending services. That's again growing at 75%, and it has around $37 million merchant credit loans per quarter, and total of $10 million consumer loans per quarter. That's a big number. Gross margins of Mercado Libre is high at 50%, and healthy 10% of revenue spent in product development research. And trust me, this 10% of revenues that spend on R&D and research and product development is benefiting a lot for this firm as a big company. The most of the things that you see there in the pie chart, like other than Mercado Libre, you have Mercado NBOs, which is a logistics solutions, Mercado Credito, which is a credit platform, lending platform that gives lending to the merchants in working capital and loans. Then there is Mercado Pago, which is a payments channel. It has a whole sort of payments products from gateway services, mobile payments, credits and cards. And then there are many others like shops that sellers can pay setup and maintenance, provide the storefronts also on the platform. So I had invested in Mercado Libre because of its leadership in commerce, and not only that, they are appearing as an end-to-end, like the Amazons of the world, end-to-end product suite for commerce, and including payments and credit and lending and whatnot. Everything is there for the merchants to sell. And Mercado Pago is a LATAM leader in digital payments. So I have dedicated a slide here for Mercado Pago, because most often we tend to forget to value Mercado Pago, the underlying Mercado Pago payments business, when we value Mercado Libre. And Mercado Pago itself can someday become a big business, can get spun off. We don't know, but it's because look at the analysis that shows, it's a leading online e-commerce platform, Libre, and Mercado Pago has a strong credit platform, payment product like gateways, POS, point of sale, that is. Then they have digital wallet that does a consolidated yearly $25 billion total payments transaction volume. They call it TPV. So Mercado Pago's growth is kind of tracked through the total payments volume. They call it TPV, and that is comprehensive payment services, online and offline transaction, covering $25 billion transaction volume in 2019. So they are both backward and forward integrated. It creates an ecosystem of merchants, credit, supply chain, logistics, everything. They have broad range of services on Mercado Libre platform, and even Mercado Pago gives offline off the Mercado Libre platform services in payments, like they give the point of sale to merchants, they have digital wallets, SDKs, they have credit advances, merchant credit for working capital loans, then there is consumer credit for consumer spending, credit cards, gift cards, prepaid cards, name it, every sort of payments and card services are provided. 50% of the total payments transaction volume is done on the Mercado Libre platform, and 50% is done off the platform, which is like for physical point of sale, etc. And this is a significant number because earlier around 90% of the TPV was done only on Mercado Libre platform, and look how they're proliferating outside the Mercado Libre platform and helping with the merchants and consumers to do payments outside the e-commerce platform, which means their dependency on the e-commerce platform is reducing. At the same time, they are expanding the horizons across other areas of growth strategy. That's why precisely their user base has grown so much. It's got around 220 million users registered on the platform. That's 1/3 of the total LATAM population. And Mercado Pago has a total of 250 million payment transactions and 3 million monthly active users on mobile wallet itself. That's again a staggering number. TPV, as I said, the total payments volume is growing at 90% forex neutral because they are Argentina based, and Brazil transactions are also getting registered. They're doing around $25 billion per year. And TPN growing at 112%, driven by strong growth in off-platform transactions. They are growing much faster than the on-platform transactions. And merchant services are growing at 130%, doing a volume of $1 billion per quarter. Wallet TPV grew 4 times in 2019, primarily driven by Argentina because the unbanked population is very high there and makes 20% of off-platform segment. QR code in-store payments makes 40% of total wallet TPV in Argentina, which means that QR code is a way of recognizing the consumers to make the payments. It's very prominent. There are merchant QR codes and consumer QR codes driven payments, and that makes 40% of the wallet transactions in Argentina. Mobile TPV is growing triple digits, primarily in Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico. So mobile payments is the significant driver, with mobile penetration and smartphone phone penetration in Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and many other countries there. The mobile TPV is growing very rapidly, and digital volumes is very high compared to the physical volumes, like in any other emerging market. Mercado Pago is currently available in Argentina, Brazil, Mexico. These are the 3 major countries where they're doing significant business, and also in Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, Uruguay, and Peru of the LATAM markets. The next fintech that I want to cover is PagSeguro, which is a listed entity. It's based out of Brazil. It's a Brazilian fintech focused on democratizing financial services. PagSeguro has around 9.4 million active users. That's still growing at 60% even with such a big user base, and 4.4 million active merchants, and a total processing payments volume of around $6.5 billion in 2019. It's growing at around 60% roughly, both TPV and active users. It's a leading fintech that is offering digital payment solutions to micro and SME merchants in Brazil. And so this is more focused on the merchants, and that to small and medium sized merchants in Brazil, rather than a play again like Mercado Pago, which was more on the e-commerce and the digital commerce, focused on the consumers. Now they were recognized for best payment processing by many LATAM magazines and forums last year, and it's also owned by a strong parentage by the brand UOL group in Brazil. UOL website has around 73% of Brazilian internet users. That's a staggering number, with around 81 million unique visitors. PagSeguro ecosystem has been laid out there in the picture. You could see there are a host of services from cash in to cash out, like credit card, debit cards, meal vouchers, and then there is bank transfer, P2P transfer between person to person, and then there is prepaid cards, ATM withdrawal, bank transfer, cross-border remittance, a whole suite of services that's been offered by PagSeguro ecosystem. So they call it as PagSeguro's digital account for the consumers. So without going to bank, they can set this digital accounts and do a set of transactions that is possible only through physical banking erstwhile, and they're calling it as Pag Bank, which is PagSeguro's digital bank and banking services. Merchants and consumers can have their free digital accounts and do all the banking services, most of the banking services, through the app in just less than 3 minutes. That's what they are touting it to be. It's a comprehensive digital ecosystem that provides payment solutions and tools like point of sale for merchants to manage and grow their businesses. That includes cash in and cash out options for both merchants and consumers. And it's a strong sticky factor for both merchants and consumers to be in the same platform. The merchants can manage their cash flows, the consumer can get lending, the transfers can be done immediate, the settlement can be done quickly, the accounts can be set up in no time digitally. So this is a significant network effect and a huge advantage for the merchants and the consumers with the value added services. So for merchants, they offer value-added services such as early payment of installment receivables, accounting reconciliation, shipping solutions, and for consumers, the free PagSeguro digital account offers options to pay merchants and also the option to save their card details on the PagSeguro e-wallet solution, which makes P2P payments very easy, like the Squares of the world. Their business model is almost like Square of the US. They have P2P, they have lending, they have merchants on the platforms. Merchants can get the POS devices, then other associated tools. They can get working capital lending, etc., etc. They are expected to do around $1.4 billion revenue and a forward net income of $322 million in 2019. They are not valued very high from a valuation standpoint. They're roughly around 35 times the forward earnings or 30 times the forward earnings maybe. Revenue and net income are growing at 40%. It's a staggering growth, and profit margin at 23.2%. It's a highly profitable business, and the profitability factor is very high, and that shows in the return ratio. Like ROE is at return on equity is at 19%. Strong business model, strong Brazilian market, which is fast emerging market in terms of growth, and highly unbanked population. The potential is huge, and PagSeguro is looking to expand into maybe other countries, for all you know. The next fintech is a Brazilian digital bank, and this is a very fast growing bank. It's like penetrating deeply into the Brazilian digital area, and they are spanning across the LATAM markets very soon with their gamut of products like credit cards, debit cards. It's nothing but new bank. As the name says, it is a new bank is nothing but a digital bank, mostly led by mobile because of this mobile penetration. It was founded by David Welles. It's the largest online bank. It's an online only bank majorly, and most valued fintech startup in LATAM with 9 million customers, almost same as PagSeguro, offering whole gamut of financial products like credit cards, debit cards, loyalty services, etc. They focus on the 100 million unbanked population in Brazil and even other Latin American markets without document and paper hassles. So they don't have these typical documentation, credit checks, and many other things which are required for a physical bank, but this is a more of a digital entity driven primarily through mobile, and the account setup is as easy as that. And they are also evaluating into their foray into small and medium merchants to bring them on board, and that would mean that this is a completely digital led bank with all the merchants on the platform who can get the merchant services like working capital and accounting, settlement, and reconciliation, many other features which is required for the merchants. So the new bank is most valued fintech startup in LATAM today, and digital banking they provide to large unbanked population in Brazil, even Mexico. They started in Mexico recently, and they are fast proliferating across other LATAM markets. They have developed most of the cards and services in partnership with Mastercard. Mastercard is also going very aggressive in partnership with many of the fintechs, and they launched the Mastercard Platinum credit cards that can be controlled through just mobile applications, which is a very important thing to note here. Some of its other products include digital account called New Conta, then there are loans, loyalty program called New Bank Rewards, then there is digital credit cards controlled through mobile app, which is with partnership with Mastercard. And also the bank used Amazon Web Services AWS Cloud to build, deploy, and run its entire credit card processing platform on which the customers can track and control their purchases. That is amazing. So just the whole bank's credit platform is running on cloud. That is a significant cost driver, cost advantage for this bank, and that is how I think they are high margin business in terms of financial lending. Now, recently forayed into Mexico, they are setting up a new digital bank offering similar services. They are also evaluating foray into Argentina, Colombia to target the underbanked and both the underbanked and unbanked population. So when it says underbanked, many of these services like remittances and money transfer might be available through, say, post office and many other things. But truly, that's not the end-to-end banking services that is applicable for a consumer. And so, new bank is targeting both underbanked and unbanked population. They are currently backed by multiple VCs and investors like Tencent, SoftBank, and they are currently running at a valuation of $8 to $10 billion. So next we will see some of the future unicorn and fintechs and digital banks in Latin markets. There are four I have listed here. There could be many in the making. Why I have proposed these four are because they are very close to becoming a unicorn very soon. Very fast growing companies, all focused on financial areas. Majorly they are all fintechs, and they are leveraging technology to power and enable as well as provide financial services to their customers. The first one in focus is Clip. Clip has financial products to fit into the mobile devices that can process credit card payments. This is a low cost card processor used by local merchants in Mexico. Very much like Square, they are a low cost credit card processor, and SoftBank has invested around $20 million in 2019, which values the firms around $300 million. So Mexico is an ideal market for small and medium merchants who can use this service for card processing. The next one is Cubo Financiero. Cubo is a fully digital finance company in Mexico again that offers savings accounts, personal loans, term deposits, and peer-to-peer lending opportunities to its clients. So pretty much all the banking service, much of the banking services through the digital channels. And Cubo follows a lean model, and that is achieved by following it is highly digital and less physical presence, and so they are able to leverage that lean model and whatever they gain from the margins to pass it on to the customers. And how they do it is by passing it on through lower interest rates for borrowers. Next one is Uala. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Uala, an Argentina-based fintech digital bank that provides users with a MasterCard prepaid card. So there is one trend you need to observe here as investors. MasterCard is partnering with all the major fintechs in the world, not only in LATAM, it's in Asia, Europe, and MasterCard is coming out and is adventing into a lot of new age products in the fintech world, like contactless payment and innovative cards in partnership with the fintechs. One such case is Uala, and we earlier also saw another place where MasterCard had partnered with a few other fintechs. And so here Uala is again, they have an app that can be used by users to transfer money, top up mobile phone credit cards and credits, and then get insights into what they're spending into. So that's analytics. And Uala was founded by Pierpaolo Barberi, who was developed and who developed it and launched in Argentina. It's mobile penetration in Argentina, which is something very interesting. Mobile penetration is close to 92%, and the banking penetration is just 50%. There is a bipolar characteristics that is developed there, and rightly so. The highly mobile penetration is fast entrenching into the financial and banking space because they could just leapfrog many of the physical banking facilities and provide all of those services through the banking, all the banking services through the digital channels or omni-channel to call it, and they rightly do that through the mobile apps. And it's a huge market, so with such penetrations of banking, it's more unbanked and underbanked population, and huge market to grow for fintechs amidst its currency instability and political crisis. So those are two risks that you can see, due to the political crisis, the high inflationary environment, and also the currency instability, usually causes the high risk for investors. But nevertheless, there is a great market size to explore. The next one is Bankingly, which is prominent in European area. I think they went and did a local establishment in Uruguay. It's a fintech again that helps institutions, financial institutions, provide digital channels to their customers to streamline the experience. So Bankingly uses its software to help improve financial inclusions by providing simple digital channels for banking institutions that serve underbanked or lower income customers. So they are more like a platform providers or software providers with a slew of products like tools and other things that can be leveraged by the other financial institutions who could use their software and provide digital channels for their customers. And again, they focus on small and medium sized banks as well as microfinance organizations. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Overall, the takeaway is LATAM market has a huge potential with these 18 countries providing and paving way for huge financial markets and financial services, especially through digital channels. So they are kind of like China and India. They are also leapfrogging many of the physical banking services for the unbanked, and they are leapfrogging that and directly moving into the digital penetrations and leveraging the digital medium and channels to provide the same banking services erstwhile banks used to provide. And it's a large market, what 370 million internet users and 120 million unbanked population. So that is a stark difference between the unbanked internet users, and so rightly this is a huge market for the fintech world. And so we need to, as an investor, we need to keep track of this. There could be many that we discussed that can come up, or that we didn't discuss that could come up with an IPO very soon. So it's a market to keep under observation. Hope this whole session on digital explosion and fintech opportunities in LATAM was useful for you. Thank you.